So what can we do? Obviously, you and I, we can't, go install a new system or make the wastewater treatment better. But what we can do is reduce the amount of chemicals we are putting into our water, whether it's stormwater or whether it's your wastewater in your home. By putting less XYZ into it, that means that when we at the wastewater treatment plant are treating it, we don't have as much to treat, meaning we can lower the levels that we put into the environment. So let's talk about nutrients. Phosphates can be found in our laundry detergents. If you live in Maryland, we've actually banned those. If you live in other states, you'd have to look at your state, but in Maryland we have banned it from laundry detergents, as well as dish detergents. So this is great. However, we haven't banned it in things like our soaps. So in detergent for our clothes or for our dishes it has been, but soaps. So for example, car wash soap. Car wash soap has phosphates in it too. When you wash your car in the driveway, at the base of this driveway, there is probably a storm drain somewhere. And that storm drain is going to release that water. So this is supposed to represent water. It's going to release that water into a water body with all of that soap in it. So what you should do is take your car to an actual car wash. By taking it to an actual car wash, that car wash actually has an MPDES. They have to clean out their water before putting that water into a stormwater drain or directly into the environment. So you might want to save a couple bucks by doing it at home, but doing it at a car wash center is actually more environmentally friendly just because they do treat that water. Whereas at your house, that water is going into the Chesapeake Bay, going into that local creek or local river untreated. Another thing you can do is just don't put things down the sink that you shouldn't put down the sink. Our wastewater treatment plants cannot clean everything. And if it's not part of their MPDES, they don't get in trouble for it. So for example, paints. Wastewater treatment systems don't clean paints. They try to, but there's a lot of chemicals in paints they just can't break down. So it goes through the whole wastewater treatment plant and out into the river. Same with medicines. Do not flush your medicines. That medicine will get into the water supply and could actually re-enter into drinking water. Motor oil, again, don't put that down the sink. These are not really designed to be cleaned in a wastewater treatment plant. Whatever doesn't get cleaned by the wastewater treatment plant will enter the environment. And finally, flushable wipes. Yes, they may flush. However, I've actually been to a wastewater treatment plant here in Maryland, and the guy told us, yes, they flush, but they don't break down. He showed us in the initial cleaning, they literally are getting hundreds and hundreds of pounds of flushable wipes that they can't do anything with. They just end up sending them to a landfill. So save some energy. Instead of flushing them, just throw them away. You're saving a trip of that wet one or of that flushable wipe. Another thing we can do is just reducing the amount of water we use. You've probably heard of this since elementary school, don't waste water. But one of the reasons why, not only because creating good drinkable water takes a lot of energy, but also the more water you have, the more water that has to be cleaned, and that takes energy too. So simple things such as turning off the water when you're brushing your teeth, using a dishwasher. So I've actually looked this up. Using a dishwasher is more environmentally friendly than hand washing them. At least if you are washing your dishes all at once. So if you're running a full dishwasher, that is a lot more environmentally friendly than, say, washing a couple dishes tonight and tomorrow night and the next night and the next night and the next night. Because if you're washing your dishes well, which means you're using hot water and you're using soap, overall you're going to use more hot water and more soap washing them 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 than just running them all at once. Another way you can reduce water consumption that isn't really talked about when you learned about this in elementary school is using a gray water system. So gray water. Gray water is water that you have already used. Typically, you're talking about this in a household. So for example, here's the water used for the sink. When you're washing your hands, you want to use clean water. You don't really want to use dirty water. But what about the toilet? You really don't care what is in the toilet because you are just going to use the toilet and flush it away anyway. So systems that use gray water will use shower water, will use dishwasher water, will use the laundry machine water, will use sink water, and use that to fuel toilet water. So this water at least gets another use before it goes to that wastewater treatment plant. So you're using less water overall. This is a rain barrel system. So if you have a garden, you've probably been watering it. Well, instead of watering it with city water, instead, you can save water by not doing that at all. Creating a rain barrel collection allows you to get water that comes to you free and lets you use it onto your garden when you need it. This is really great if you have a heavy downpour. Sure, your garden gets watered during that downpour, but you can then use the extra water for a different time. And then finally, just raising awareness. You know, you're taking this class, you're learning about all these different ways that we affect the environment. But a lot of people aren't, and a lot of people haven't, and a lot of people probably won't. So raising awareness about this is incredibly important. I know in my hometown, there's a lot of this. A lot of our storm drainages have this don't dump Chesapeake Bay drainage because a lot of people don't even know that storm drains go directly into a water body, maybe a water body that you use. So by having something like this, it might make someone think twice, like, oh, I have this trash, I'll throw it here. Oh, this goes into the Chesapeake Bay? Maybe I won't do that. These are different bumper stickers, so having a bumper sticker on your car to raise awareness. These are stickers that can be found on storm drains. So whatever you can do to educate other people in a very quick, easy, and efficient manner can hopefully get them to think twice about the decisions they're making. So again, us as consumers, us as residents, we don't have to get an MPDES. Instead, we either have a septic system or a wastewater treatment system. But we can't just rely on those systems. You and I have to do our part to reduce the amount of pollutants we put into our water and just in general reduce the amount of water that needs to be cleaned in the first place.